Good afternoon, everyone. Friday afternoon, here we are at Riverflow Yoga, Blissful Warrior Hot Yoga Practice. Well, this one actually isn't a hot yoga practice. I am Rhonda Uretsky. I'm the owner of Riverflow Yoga, and we are a hot yoga studio located in Lambertville, New Jersey. And for the duration, we are not open in Lambertville, New Jersey. We are actually open everywhere. We are bringing you classes right here on Facebook live from our homes, meaning all of the teachers of Riverflow Yoga are opening our home studios and practicing with you in various kinds of practices. This one is Blissful Warrior Yoga. This is a practice that I have curated from my 45 years of experience teaching and practicing yoga and meditation and various spiritual practices that I'm finding to be especially helpful to me now during this time of, don't even know what word to use for it anymore. We use the word unprecedented a lot, but I think at this point we've all almost gotten a little bit accustomed to this state of constant change and constant chaos, and maybe it doesn't have to be constant worry. My hope is that as we settle a little bit into this new state of things, that we are maintaining our awareness and perhaps learning to settle a little bit and settle within ourselves and understand how to adapt and how to adjust to these new conditions around us. And they do seem to be coming faster now, don't they? And it started with a virus and continued down to a business change, let's say. My business is one of the many that has been closed for the past couple of months, and yet we have somehow found a way to continue doing what we love, which is bringing yoga to all of you. And now we're actually bringing it out on a wider basis. We are, as I said, located in Lambertville, New Jersey, and so we used to draw our students from the local community, and now we have a sort of global community right here, as I find that people join these classes on Facebook Live from as far away as Italy, and we're really happy to have you with us. We practice yoga, the teachers of Riverflow Yoga, and myself, I'll speak for myself in particular, because it really is the practice that gives us a sense of grounding and balance. And things in general in life can be very off-putting. There can be lots of things that can threaten to knock you off your balance. But I feel like now there probably isn't anybody out there who hasn't felt a little bit sidetracked, at least, and for some, greatly thrown. So even if you haven't been practicing yoga forever, even if this is your first class, and I'm telling you that my practice of 45 years has sustained me, and maybe what's running through your mind is, oh my gosh, I wish I had started yoga sooner. I wish I had a practice that I could count on. You can count on this practice. You can start from exactly where you are, and you can take this practice internally into a place where you begin to feel like yourself again. A lot of us aren't acting like ourselves these days. I personally look around and see things locally and globally, as I know you do, and I want to believe that people who are acting in certain ways are acting out of character, that this isn't really who they are, that if they were calmer, if they were more certain, if they were less upset and agitated and confused and worried, then their actions might be more aligned with who they really are. I don't know that for a fact, but it's what I like to believe. And whether it's true or not, I'm going to invite you to join me in this practice, which is all about soothing and all about calming, and ask you to experience for yourself if you feel different during or after this practice. And if that difference that you feel is calmer and more grounded and more relaxed, more contented, more accepting, more adaptable, whatever word it is you use to describe this better feeling that you have after doing this practice, then I'm going to invite you to consider that that is who you are. that feeling that you have is the feeling of being yourself again. And there are going to be many things that you encounter in your life, whether it's in this pandemic or once this pandemic eases into a new phase, and there are other things that you encounter that will potentially knock you off your center. But there are outside conditions and always have been. And those outside conditions will change constantly, and you will encounter them. And you may have responses to those outside conditions. And sometimes they are what we like to call knee-jerk responses. There's something that triggers you, and your response is agitation, some form of agitation. But there is a moment between the triggering event and your response when you have an opportunity to pull back for a moment and to actually choose the response that you're going to have. It's a very, very short window of time. And sometimes we don't even realize we have it because it passes so quickly. There's the condition, and then we have our response. And we call it a knee-jerk response for a reason, right? It's like a reflex. But you're more than reflexes. You are a thinking, feeling being. And you do have the capacity to step back for a moment and choose the response that you'd like to have to this situation. Sometimes the response might actually be to notice that you're so agitated that it's best for you to simply walk away for now until you can find this place within yourself where you can respond to a situation as yourself. And I, again, like to believe that people that we see on the news who are responding to conditions and situations and triggering events in ways that they're less than proud of afterwards are simply being triggered and sucked into the knee-jerk response. And maybe they don't have a practice or haven't learned that they have that space where they can pull back and decide. In the time that you do pull back, it might not be the right time for you to come up with the response that's going to make you feel better. There might just be enough time, enough awareness that you can cultivate that allows you to simply pull back and do nothing, to just breathe instead of doing anything. But in that space of breathing, you will find yourself again, and you will know the response that will be more satisfying to you. So when I look around and see all of these really crazy, kind of upsetting responses that people are having to each other, to conditions, to incidents and situations, I really want to believe that everybody can learn to soothe themselves enough to have that little space to make the choice between what they're going to do in response that feels most like themselves. So how do you practice being yourself? Maybe you have these ideas about yourself that you're an angry person or a upset person. I would like to suggest to you that these are just your emotions. These are just your reactions to situations. And I'm not going to deny you your emotions or your reactions. I'm simply going to ask you, do you feel better when you react to situations out of a sense of fear or worry or agitation? Or do you feel better when you've responded after you have regained this sense of calm? And how do you regain the sense of calm? It's a practice. So we are going to, in these hours that we're together every day in Blissful Warrior Practice, learn to be warriors about being blissful. You're going to learn ways and techniques and little tricks that you can play on yourself or play with yourself in order to be able to convince yourself that being blissful, being happy, being grounded and centered is your most important work. And everything else that you do grows out of that place of being centered. So the first thing that we're going to always do when we come to this practice is breathe. Breathing is the core practice of learning to cultivate this sense of blissful warrior. So find a comfortable position. I'm seated on the ground. One of these days you'll come here and I'll be seated in a chair. Every day that I've done Blissful Warrior so far, I've been sitting on the ground, and I don't want you to have to feel like you have to sit in some yogic position in order to participate in this yoga practice. I'd like you to find a place that feels comfortable for your body right now. Right now is the key. We are learning to be in the present moment and have the feelings that you feel and the preferences that you prefer in the present moment by checking in and seeing what feels most soothing to you right now. Maybe you've already had an agitating morning. You've probably done multiple things already. It's 12:45. You've probably done multiple things today. Maybe you've looked at the news. You've had many opportunities to be agitated. And so let's check in right now and see what you can do to soothe yourself in bringing yourself here to this practice. So I'm sitting on the floor on a cushion, as I love to do. The cushion allows me to sit a little bit forward. If you have one, you can try it. If you sit a little forward on the cushion, your hip flexors relax and you feel like your knees are pointing down a little bit, and it's just this beautiful open feeling that I have in my hips when I do this. But go ahead and sit on a chair if you prefer it. Place your feet on the ground. It's a wonderful way to ground yourself, to have both feet on the ground. You can place your palms in your lap. This is especially nice if you're sitting on a chair. Your arms just fall nicely there. If you'd like to lie down on the ground, go ahead and do that. Lie down on your bed. Nobody's watching. Nobody's judging. Find your comfortable position. The first part of comforting yourself is being comfortable. I know there's lots of talk about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone in order to grow. I don't agree. I feel like no matter what happens in your life, growth is just a natural thing that is part of it. No matter what situations you encounter, you are constantly expanding. You are constantly growing. And you don't have to push yourself into a place of being uncomfortable in order to grow. And as a matter of fact, maybe this is one of the reasons why we're all so hard on ourselves. We learn to push. We learn that there's some reward in struggle. We learn that there's this wonderful admiration that we give to people who survive the worst, and that there's a way to get through things if only you'll sort of buck up and push yourself to do more. And for the purposes of this practice, I'm going to ask you to just switch that whole thing around. Give yourself permission to feel soothed. Give yourself a permission to do what makes you feel comforted and soothed, because you deserve it. Just as there is this culture that talks about pushing through all the obstacles, we are beginning to hear the quiet little under voice that's talking about self-care. I'm a very, very big advocate of self-care. I believe that everybody deserves to be taken care of, and that you are the best person to know what makes you feel taken care of, and then allow yourself to have it. So finding your comfortable position is maybe the first practice of re-engaging in your allowing your own self-care without judgment, without feeling like if you're sitting in a chair, you should be sitting on the floor, or if you're lying on the ground, you should be sitting on a cushion. There isn't room for any of that here in this Blissful Warrior yoga practice. There is infinite room for your preferences, for the things that make you feel soothed. That is what this practice is all about. I'm not going to teach you how to soothe yourself. I'm going to invite you to let this be the space that you give yourself permission to do it. So breathing. Now that you have found your comfortable position, I will offer you some little tips to help your body feel a little bit more relaxed and soothed in whatever position you're in. And you get to try. You get to try these little tips and tricks and see if they work to make you feel better in this moment. And I'm going to constantly emphasize in this moment. We are talking about being in the present moment, which is the only place that you can connect with your feelings and yourself and your inner knowledge about what is best for you. You might want to think about what in the future would make you feel better, but until you arrive in the future, you actually don't know how you feel. And if you think about the past, it doesn't exist anymore. So you can spend lots of time spinning in thoughts about what you should have done in the past, and it makes no impact on your life whatsoever as far as going forward from here, except potentially to make you uncomfortable, to make you feel worthless, to make you feel wrong. There just isn't room for any of that in the present moment. The present moment is a wide open opportunity for you to feel like yourself and to know what it feels like to actually be living your life from this place of being yourself. And what does that self feel like? Well, if you get to explore the present moment, you're going to find that that self actually feels quite good. The natural way for you to feel is happy. It is soothed. It is this place of feeling good. And the overlay that we put on top of that, the worry about the future and the regrets about the past, not only does that make you feel terrible, it does rob you of your precious time in the present. So, okay, I've done lots of talking, giving you time to feel around for your place of soothing, settling. And now we're going to settle in. So, my position is arms at my sides, balanced, backs of my hands balanced on my knees. And if you're lying on the ground, let me suggest two positions that might work to feel good for you. Legs out, heels touching, toes flopped apart, arms at your sides, palms facing up, letting your chin drop a little bit. Pull your collarbones wide. If you are sitting in a chair, if there's a chair back, you might want to lean back into it. Feel the support of that chair holding your back. Keep both feet on the ground to support your nervous system. Place your palms face down on your lap, on your thighs. Again, support for your nervous system. And if you're sitting on the ground, begin to pull your collarbones wide apart. There might not be a whole lot of action that you feel externally in pulling the collarbones wide apart, but you will feel this internal sense of traction that's actually very satisfying, very soothing. Now, stretching is not just for your body. There's a beautiful psychological soothing in stretching the body. So you get to tap into that right now without doing any movements that feel like you have to struggle to get into them. Those struggles actually, again, rob you of your ability to soothe yourself. So this is all going to be about naturally feeling good. And I hope that as we do this practice, you get to experience yourself as a naturally good feeling being. You don't have to work at it. You don't have to sacrifice for it. You don't have to earn it, and you certainly don't have to validate it. You simply are a naturally good feeling being. And if you allow yourself to settle, that's what will rise to the top. The good feeling being that you are. So, here we are. Let's take a few deep breaths. Now the breathing that we're going to do here is in through the nose, hear it in the back of the throat, big strong ocean sound, exhale through the nose, hear it in the back of the throat. So, let's begin. Inhale. As you inhale, pull your collarbones wide apart. If you're lying on the ground, you'll feel this as your shoulder blades on the mat. If you're sitting, you'll feel this as a great stretching across your chest. Hold your breath at the top for a moment. Feel how comfortable it actually is to keep the breath in. And now exhale through the nose. Hearing a big ha sound in your throat, keeping your collarbones pulled wide apart. Allow your chin to fall just a little bit. You're not trying to hang your head down, but you are trying to put your head back on your neck. And so much of the time we're thrust forward. So bringing the chin down gives you a nice little stretch between the bones of your cervical spine. And again, stretching, very satisfying. Stretching is connected to this feeling of freedom. Freedom is very much what we all want to experience. And you can experience it right here, right now, in your breathing and in your very slight movements of your body. These little adjustments. Inhale. Hearing it in the back of your throat, collarbones wide. Let your arms and hands be relaxed, whether you're lying down or sitting. Hold your breath at the top. And as you exhale, back of your throat, big ha sound. Letting your chin drop. As you exhale your breath, feel your belly empty. Drop your tailbone down a little bit. If you're lying on the ground, it's almost as if somebody has slipped their hand under the small of your back and you're dropping your lower back into that hand. And then when the breath is empty, let your tailbone curl under just a little bit so that you can almost feel like you're doing a little pull at the base of your spine. Again, more internal stretching, more traction, more freedom, more soothing, more feeling like yourself. Notice you don't have to be a 45-year yoga practitioner to breathe and to benefit from the soothing that you are feeling right now. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Hear it in the back of your throat, keeping your collarbones wide, emptying your belly. Let your breath stay empty for a while. As you exhale your breath and you get to the bottom of it, just stay empty as you tuck your tailbone up a little bit. It almost begins to feel like you're hovering if you're sitting on the ground or in a chair. And inhale. And exhale. Just letting your chin drop a little bit, keeping your collarbones wide. And then check in on this present moment feeling and just think about or feel how you feel. It's tricky. If you start thinking about how you feel, then your mind spins you off in so many different directions, it's almost hard to catch. And you can lose that little space between the triggering event and your conditioned response. You know, sometimes these triggering events don't even happen outside of you. They're going on in your mind at all times. Your mind is constantly telling you things about yourself that aren't very pleasant. And these thoughts begin to trigger you away from the present moment. So what the best that you can do is notice that this is the way the mind works. This is what your mind tends to do. It tends to jump up and judge you, or push its way through your feelings and start to explain why you should be better. And so the best you can do, especially at this moment where we're just beginning this practice, is to just notice it. Try not to beat yourself up for having those thoughts. Try not to pretend you're not having those thoughts. It's okay if you are, and you probably are. If you're human, you probably are. And sometimes they happen so fast that you don't even notice them. You think this is the way you are. You think this judgmental, harsh sounding self is who you really are. I promise you it's not. It's just your conditioned mind. And here in Blissful Warrior Practice, we are going to be adamant about being blissful. So when those thoughts come up, when those distractions happen, you're going to be blissful even about the distractions by simply saying, there it is. I notice it. Okay. Back to breathing. Inhale. And exhale. It's so beautiful how breathing, which is the thing that you are going to do for the rest of your life, can be directly emphasized as a way to bring you back into your place of being yourself. You don't have to go to school to learn to breathe. You don't have to take any lessons. You already know how to do this. That's because you are a naturally good-feeling being, well equipped to have a life that feels good to you, with many, many physiological processes available to you that you can simply activate and notice how it feels. So as you take another deep breath, inhale. Here at the back of your throat, pull your collarbones wide and exhale. Again, hearing at the back of your throat, keeping your collarbones wide, emptying your belly, letting your breath stay empty, letting your tailbone come up and under a little bit. These slow, gentle nuances. Notice how you feel in this moment. See if you can be actually in this moment and feel this good feeling being begin to rise again, begin to surface for you. Inhale. And exhale. I'm going to confess that after 45 years of practice, it still sometimes surprises me and amazes me how different, how much I can change the way my whole being feels by doing this blissful warrior practice, starting with breathing. When I came to this practice today, half an hour ago, I was really feeling tired. I heard my mind talking me out of doing this practice today. I heard my mind telling me all sorts of good reasons, valid reasons why it wouldn't make a difference whether I did this practice today or not. Maybe people would be there, maybe they wouldn't. I could just take a nap, I could go to sleep. I'm not saying these thoughts are good or bad. I'm not judging myself for having them. I'm just noticing that it's my mind, my conditioned mind, and I'm okay with that conditioned mind being there, and I'm also okay with not listening to it, with simply moving ahead and moving forward into this blissful warrior practice, simply because it feels good. It doesn't even have to be a reason. I just moved myself right here onto this cushion. And even now, after taking maybe we've taken 6 deep breaths, I feel so much more awake. And awake feels like who I am. It's not bad to feel sleepy or tired or fatigued or overwhelmed or upset or despairing or anything else that you genuinely feel. These are feelings. They are real. But it really is lovely to know that you don't have to live your life in those places of feeling that don't support you, that don't serve you. And you have this breath to sit back and allow it to infuse you so that the really good feeling, naturally good feeling person that you are can start to shine again. Let's breathe in a little bit more. Inhale, collarbones wide. Hear it in the back of your throat. Really make a big, loud Darth Vader kind of sound. Exhale. Allowing the breath to empty. Allowing the tailbone to drop down at first and then tuck under a little bit. You're going to get to this place from breathing where there are parts of your body that almost feel like they're not there. There's a certain lightness that happens, and in that space, that's where you're in the present moment. There's no heaviness there in the present moment. There's just this lightness of being. It is different for everyone, and it's hard for me to describe to you how this feels, but I can guide you through it so that you can feel it yourself. There isn't any magic to it, except to say that you are already magic, that you are already equipped with so many wonderful faculties and abilities to help you to be this light, good-feeling being that moves through the world being who you want to be. Inhale, collarbones wide. Hearing the sound come in the back of your throat. Relaxing your arms, your hands, your fingers. And exhale, allowing your chin to drop a little bit, allowing your belly to deflate, and letting your tailbone drop down and tucking it up a little. Inhale. And exhale. Breathing infuses the trillions of cells of your body with new life force. Every single breath that you take, how can it not be invigorating? How can it not be soothing and healing? So many systems of your body are designed to move you into well-being at all times. It's almost illogical with all of the many different systems you have in your body that are constantly moving you towards well-being. It's almost illogical that anyone would ever get sick. Think about that for just a moment. I know we are mostly accustomed to feeling like we are constantly vulnerable to illness, that we need to be ever vigilant about viruses and bacteria that might infect our bodies. But your body is designed to not only ward off these things, but actually to adapt to them. That's an amazing thing to realize. You are 3 trillion cells all working towards one goal, to help you to have a good feeling life. Physically, emotionally, even conditionally. Every part of your body is working together. There's a whole universe inside of you of organs, cells. There's a chemical factory in your brain that's constantly releasing chemicals to balance you. The intricacies of how your body maintains your stability is way beyond our comprehension, and we really are only just beginning to understand certain aspects of how amazing this body is. So the idea that anything could be stronger than this universe inside of you almost doesn't make sense, and yet we do experience illness. Maybe, just maybe, part of that has to do with us not allowing ourselves to feel the miracles that we are, to trust that, and to breathe into it. So take another breath. Inhale, collarbones wide, chin dropped a little, maybe leaning back, and exhale. Loud ha sound out the back of your throat. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. So in this moment that you feel soothed and calm and relaxed, I am going to pronounce you arrived in the present moment. So now we're going to move around a little bit, move these bodies around a little bit in the present moment, continually returning to the breath, continually bringing ourselves back to this present moment of feeling soothed, and see how it feels to live your life from this place. Okay, so bring yourself down to the floor. If you've been sitting on a chair, now's the time to come down to the floor. If you've been lying down, roll over onto your side and push yourself up into a sitting position. like to take a moment to just welcome everyone who's joined us. And while I'm not playing favorites, I particularly want to say hello to Laura. Laura is a student at Riverflow Yoga. She's been a long-time student at the studio, and I feel like I haven't seen you in a long, long time, Laura, so I'm especially happy to see you here. Okay, bring your legs out in front of you. Just sit with your legs out in front of you. We're just going to do very simple kinds of postures that allow you to feel comfortable in your body. Maybe it's been a really long time since you have felt comfortable in your body, but I'm going to tell you that it's your birthright. Your entire body is working towards that end to give you that sense of comfort and stability and confidence in this physical body. So now we're just going to test that a little bit so we can experience it in ways that maybe we haven't in a while. So legs are out in front of you. Begin to pull your heels towards the wall in front of you and pull your toes towards your face. Place your palms below your knees so that you can lock your arms. Some of you guys, I'm not going to say us, I'm 5'2". Some of you guys have longer limbs, so you might find that you place your palms on your knees and your arms lock. For me, it's below the knees. Lock your arms at the elbows and rotate the inner parts of your elbows inward. Can you see what I'm doing here? Here my elbows are sort of facing outward, and now I'm going to rotate them in. Notice how you don't have to do anything else with any other part of your body to make that happen. It almost looks like nothing's happening, but you can feel the difference here. Palms below your knees, elbows locked, inner parts are rotated to be facing each other, collarbones wide, pulling hard from your heels in front of you, flexing your toes towards your face. Here's a wonderful benefit I love to tell people about, the physical benefits they're feeding their bodies when they do some of these things. And as you pull your heels and flex your toes, you're stretching along the bottoms of your feet, where you have what's called your plantar fascia, this spandex-like material, fascia, that is all over your body inside and sort of holds things together, just like a spandex girdle would, right? Just like Spanx. It's internal Spanx. And in your feet you have so many bones. I believe it's 88. Don't quote me, but I think it is. But many, many bones working together to do the amazing job that your feet do, right? Help you to walk and run and hold you upright in this world, in this life. So right now, when you flex your heels outward and your toes towards your face, you are toning up that fascia on the bottoms of your feet. Can you think of any other kind of exercise where you are working with helping to strengthen your feet, the bottoms of your feet? Now, mostly what I want you to feel is how light and easy this feels. Even though you're pulling from your heels and flexing your toes and your arms are locked and your collarbones are pulling wide. And pick a point on the wall in front of you to look at where your chin is just slightly lowered. Keep your gaze steady. So lots and lots of things are locked in your body right now, but notice how easy it is for you to sit here like this. Again, it almost feels like you're hovering a little bit over the ground instead of sinking into it. So inhale. Lock your elbows, pull from your heels, flex your toes towards your face, let your chin drop, keep your collarbones wide. And exhale, just feel the lightness of this, the natural lightness of your body, the natural ability you have to feel good simply being. Notice again, you're not doing a whole lot, but there is a true delight in allowing yourself to just be. And now as you inhale, let's play a little game. Pull your toes forward. Instead of your heels, pull your toes forward towards the wall in front of you. Keep your knees rotated inward and raise your arms. Now pull your fingertips towards the wall in front of you. Go towards the side a little bit here and keep your shoulders down and back. Now if you pull your fingertips forward and your shoulders down and back at the same time, even though you are holding your arms up against gravity, you can hold them here for a very long time and you feel relaxed. It doesn't feel like a struggle. If your arms ever get heavy, you just need to apply more traction by pulling your fingertips forward and pulling your shoulders down and back. So you've got two equal and opposite pulls going on here. And you just feel like you can stay this way for a really long time. So let's balance a little bit. Pull your toes forward, rotate your knees in, fingers pulling forward, shoulders down and back. Simply begin to lean back. Keep your chin down so you're not going to thrust your chin. Just lean back as you pull your fingertips and toes forward. Lean back into your hips. Suck your stomach in. And now if you'd like to try, squeeze your legs together. Rotate your knees in and pulling your toes forward, lift your heels up off the mat. So this is called boat pose. And do it like a game. Don't use this as another thing to feel bad about yourself over. If you can do it, great. If you can't, go back to the soothing place. Lower your heels, pull from your fingers, shoulders down and back, sit yourself back up, and now rest your palms again. Right there, 2 inches below your knees, at least that's where it is for me, to lock your arms. Rotate the inner parts of your elbows in, pull your collarbones wide, let your chin drop. Now pull from your heels, flexing the toes towards the face, and breathe. Back to breathing, always breathing. Inhale. And exhale. Notice every time you breathe, you return to that place that I'm going to call your place of home, your home base, your naturally good-feeling being. Breathing allows you to remember. Inhale and exhale. Now separate your legs into a V. Your right leg will be out to the side 45 degrees. Your left leg will be out to the side 45 degrees. So you are in a V shape. And place your palms on your knees. And again, looking at a spot in the wall in front of you. As you inhale, lift your chest. And as you exhale, reach forward with your arms. Pull with your fingertips and place your first 2 fingers between your first 2 toes on both feet. Now maybe your legs need to bend in order for you to get the first 2 fingers between the first 2 toes. Let me give you maybe a little bit more of a pulled back view on this. So if in order to get your first 2 fingers to hook between your first 2 toes, you need to bend your knees up, then bend your knees up. No judgments here. Right? This is all about soothing, and judging yourself is the worst kind of non-soothing activity. If you can get your first 2 fingers right here without bending your knees, then that's fine too. Now, inhale, lift your chest, pull your heels to the walls in front of you. Rotate your knees inward a little bit, so your knees are not going to necessarily fall into the center, but just slightly turned inward, so you can feel that they're practically pointing to the ceiling. And as you exhale, looking at the wall in front of you, drop your chin to neutral and begin to lead your breastbone between your shoulders. Take it slow. At some point, if your legs are straight, your elbow tips will bend as you lead your chest forward, and you begin to feel this stretch in your lower spine. Stretching, again, very satisfying anatomically and physiologically, but psychologically too. That stretching leaves more room for you to take deep breaths and gives you that sense of open freedom. So inhale, pull from your heels, flex the toes towards your face, rotate your knees a little bit inward towards the midline of your V, and as you exhale, lead your chest forward. Not your chin so much, let's not thrust the chin, but leading the chest forward. And eventually the chest wants to lay down on the ground, but there are no gold stars for getting your chest to the ground, right? The gold stars happen every moment that you feel soothed in these movements. Inhale, lift your breastbone. It's as if your breastbone and your face are parallel to the wall in front of you. And as you exhale, lead your breastbone forward and down. And coming up slowly, lift your chest, suck your stomach in, bring yourself all the way back to sitting up straight. Beautiful. And then release your toes, bring your legs back together, and again, sitting. Seating yourself on the floor. Palms wherever they need to be in order for your elbows to be locked. Your arms are straight. Rotate the elbows in, collarbones wide. Let your chin drop a little. Pull from your heels, flex the toes towards your face, and breathe. Inhale. And exhale. And now let's move to the knees. Come into an all-fours tabletop position. Beautiful opportunity to feel how slinky your spine really is. A lot of us think of the spine from the anatomical position, right? We think of the spine as the stack of bones, but really the energy of your spine is more like a slinky, right? Energy moves through your spine this way, really easy and flexible. And as we do this next pose, you're going to feel that and you're going to imagine your spine as a slinky. So come on onto all fours. Bring your palms directly under your shoulders or your wrists directly under your shoulders. Lock your elbows, separate your knees about 6 inches apart so that they line up behind your wrists. And really give yourself this tabletop position. Look at the wall in front of you. And as you inhale, again, lock your elbows and rotate them in. Bringing your face parallel to the wall, your breastbone parallel to the wall. Drop your belly and stretch your tailbone towards the ceiling. And almost think about having that tailbone touch the back of your head. So think about the way the slinky would be shaped right now. That big rounded bottom. And then as you exhale, drop your chin, locking your arms. Bring your chin into the hollow between your collarbones. Raise your middle back. So now think about the shape of the slinky with that middle back rounded up. And get your chin to wedge between your collarbones into that little hollow. That's a perfect fit. And then inhale. Start to bring your chin up, neck, face, and breastbone parallel to the front wall. Try not to lift your chin to the ceiling. Keep it parallel. Lock your elbows, rotate them in, drop your belly and stretch your tailbone. And then exhale, locking your arms. Nestle your chin in that little hollow space. That's the perfect fit as you round your middle back to the ceiling. And inhale, bringing up your chin, neck, face, chest. Let your belly drop to the floor. Stretch the tailbone up and back towards your head. Just take a moment here in this stretch. Lock your arms. Feel the weight in your biceps, not so much in your wrists. And then exhale. And again, nestle your chin. Round your middle back. Suck your stomach in. And stay here with your breath empty. Let your middle back round and raise. Keep your breath empty. And come back to tabletop position again. Inhale. And now bring your legs together. Sit back on your heels. And back in home base for a breath. Palms in your lap is nice. Palms facing up. Thumbs touching, collarbones wide. Let your chin drop a little. Your collarbones are pulling wide. And breathe. Remember when you're breathing, you want to hear it in the back of your throat. In. And exhale. And inhale. standing pose. So, bringing yourself up to standing in a beautifully soothing way, lean forward, lock your arms, and rest on your fingertips. And drop your chin all the way into that hollow space between the collarbones. So you feel like your head is like held between your arms. Come forward onto your knees, pressing into your fingertips, and then curl your toes, and with your fingertips, push the soles of your feet flat to the ground, head between your arms. And just stay here in your fingertips, stretch for a moment. Feel the stretch in your legs and your back and your arms. Wherever you feel this stretch, you are feeling a sense of freedom. Try not to let fear come into it. Sometimes it does when we stretch. Just breathe, breathe, and let that fear subside. And then gently walk your fingertips towards your toes, hang your head, and then hang your arms. Let your fingertips disconnect, and very slowly, stacking one coil of the slinky in your spine atop the other, coming up. Keep your thighs locked and your knees rotated in. Really be here to feel every coil of this slinky stack as you readjust your own spine. Your own little chiropractor. Nothing against chiropractors though, love them. Bring your head up, bring your shoulders wide apart, rotate your palms towards the front, step out to the right, and just stand here with your feet about hip-width distance. Lock your thigh muscles, lift them up, turn your kneecaps in, let your arms be limp. Collarbones, the wider you pull your collarbones, the more your arms will simply naturally hang pretty far away from your body. You feel really light. You are light in your body. Inhale and exhale. This is also called mountain pose. Inhale and exhale. And now bring your legs together. Pull your fingertips down to the ground. Can you feel this drag in your shoulders? This sort of, it's the borderline between ache and satisfaction. Just keep pulling, pulling. And keep your arms locked as your fingertips are pulling for the ground. And then raise your locked arms up overhead. Press your palms together. And then interlace all 10 fingers. And then bring the pointer fingers up. Keep the thumbs crossed. Pull for the ceiling and squeeze your biceps against your ears. And lean the weight backwards into your heels, keeping your knees locked, your thighs locked. Lift your chest towards the ceiling, feeling like the center of your slinky is lifting. And then very slowly, very gently, just rock from side to side, but keep the length. So pull to the right and ease your hips left. Inhale back to center, pull. Pull to the left, ease your hips right. Inhale back to center, pull. Stretch. Pull to the right, ease your hips left. Inhale back to center, pull. Stretch. Pull to the left, ease your hips right. And inhale back to center again. Right here at center, pull up. Let your arms grow longer. Let your biceps squeeze your head. Do a little bit of a backward bend here. Don't get scared. Inhale, stretch up. Pull and lift. Exhale, drop your head back. Look at your pointer fingers. Lock your thighs. Feel the weight in your heels as you inhale, pull up. And as you exhale, looking at your pointer fingers, just walk your arms back. Keep your thighs locked, your heels glued to the ground, push your hips forward. Just think about watching your pointer fingers draw this line across the ceiling, keeping your arms locked, your legs locked, thinking about your arms eventually coming beside your ears. Just remember, you've got a slinky in your back. It can do this. And then inhale, come up. Pull yourself straight up. Head back between your arms. Squeeze your head. And now we'll do a bit of a forward bend. Now I'm turning, but you don't have to. Just look at the wall in front of you. Keep your head between your arms. Suck your stomach in and pull. Pull with your pointer fingers for that wall in front of you. Nice, slow, controlled pull. Coming down, forward and down at the same time. If your knees buckle, go ahead and let them. Place your fingertips on the ground. Hang your head, look for your throat. Just stay here for a moment. Inhale. And exhale. Now fingertips on the ground. Hanging your head, letting your chin nestle between your collarbones, finding that little spot. Begin to lift from your fingertips. Let your fingertips disconnect from the ground so your arms are hanging limp. Hanging limp in front of you and stack again. Every coil of your psyche. Nice and slow. Giving yourself your own spinal adjustment. Arms come back, your shoulders and collarbones pull wide. Rotate your palms forward, place your head on top, and take a breath. Inhale. And exhale. And now lie down, and we will do final Shavasana together, our final resting pose. So lying on your back with your arms at your sides, your palms facing up. I'm actually going to sit for this, but you're going to be lying down. I want you to feel how it feels to inhabit your body now. Arms at your sides, palms facing up, heels touch, toes flopped apart. Pull your collarbones wide, tuck your chin down, and take a breath. Inhale, balloon your belly out. Hear it in the back of your throat, big, strong, Darth Vader kind of sound. Hold it and exhale. Let your belly deflate. Again, hearing it come out as if there's a hole in the back of your throat, and it's making this big ocean sound as you drop your lower back down. And when your breath is completely empty, let your tailbone feel like it's undulating a little bit up, so you can feel that beautiful little tug on your lower spine. Inhale. And exhale, deflate. Drop your lower back. And inhale. And exhale. I'm going to read a passage to you from my book called The Blissful Warrior. I actually did write a book with this title, The Blissful Warrior. The subtext is living the paradox of peace and passion for today's empowered women. This is a story that I wrote about a personal experience in my life and how these practices of bringing myself back into the present moment and feeling who I really am supported me. I walked the path along the wall that separates Vatican City from the city of Rome. On my last night in Italy, I am walking the line between two distinct places. On one side is my life in broken pieces, a pile of rubble I left at the airport on November 28th. On the other side is me. I am not broken. I came to Italy not to find a way to hold my life together, but to learn to be where I am. The ruins of Italy have taught me how to stand steady amid chaos and welcome the start of transformation. I came to Italy to learn how to take myself home. Old worries still echo in my mind, but they feel ghost-like. I believe less in ghosts now. I did not come to Italy for answers. I came to know that I am the answer. I came to realize that life is a feeling journey of expressing, experiencing, and expanding, and that my desires have value. I am worthy. I am living proof of the deepest truth that I have been seeking. I am love. Happiness is my home. Thank you for joining me today for this Blissful Warrior yoga and mindfulness and meditation and soothing practice. I hope that it has given you an hour in your day where you remember who you are. My idea is not to let you retreat from your life when you come to these practices or to take a break from your life. My idea is to help you remember what your life is about and how good it is supposed to feel, always. So I am here every day at 12:30 doing the Blissful Warrior yoga practice. You will also find myself and many of my other teachers here teaching hot yoga on various other days and times. Our schedule is on our website. If you'd like to know exactly what we're teaching, at what particular time, you'll find it at riverflow-yoga.com/schedule. We also have a beautiful yoga nidra practice to help guide you to sleep, as I know so many of you are telling me you're having sleepless nights. This should help. Thank you. I feel great. I did come to this practice today feeling exhausted, tired, really like I was not going to come. I was going to skip this practice. But as always, I feel like myself again, and I hope you do too. I will see you again soon. Om Shanti, peace and happiness and blissful warrior journey to you.